this week we had 9 cancellations in the clinic. And obviously, if we're trying to hit 220 patients a week, or even getting to 180 by the end of this year, those 10 patients every week, they soon add up. And the software, the go-to-clinic software that we've built, that's designed specifically now to keep all of our patients, right from the minute they come into our world to if they do cancel or they did not attend, that every single patient is tracked. And the process we go through with cancellations is, obviously, if there is a cancellation, that's noted on our go-to-clinic software. And then also the head physio goes and actually looks at the patient notes for the cancellation. So if it's a genuine cancellation in terms of I have COVID, I'm gonna rebook in contact in 10, 12 days, that's absolutely fine. Now the ones that are big flags for us is the people who say, oh, I feel better, okay? So that's the ones that the head physio is coming on, they're looking at the notes and we're seeing does the notes match with the story. The other big things that we're looking at this week is the initial assessments that don't rebook. So we've had a couple of these this week, and the ones that I'm always skeptical about is the ones who rebook and they cancel and they say, I feel much better. So our process for that is our head physio, they reach out to the patient and we have an honest conversation with the patient and just say, look, I want you to be completely honest, do you feel better? Or are you just saying something to so that you don't hurt our feelings? Because if we haven't delivered what the patient was expecting, or we didn't give them enough value, then I take that personally and the team take that personally as well. So that's the power of knowing your value chain dashboard, being able to track right from when the patient comes into our world, right to when they're discharged, and no patient gets left behind basically. And we have a guarantee, we've got a full money back guarantee, and that guarantee should keep you up at night, and it keeps me up at night, because if patients aren't getting the results, then in my opinion we don't deserve to get paid, and that's the bit that's scary, and that holds us accountable to ourselves, but it also holds us accountable to the patient. And that's something that I think is really important. Now, in order to do that, we need the frameworks in place, we need the business systems, but we also need the head physio systems. So that's where Shane, our head physio, he does an absolutely fantastic job at that. And to be fair, all our therapists are absolutely fantastic. But sometimes there is one or two patients that may slip through the cracks unless we have these controls in place, so to speak. So that was the big thing from this week's meeting.
So it's just something to watch over the next while, because obviously we have raised prices. So it's whether we actually have hit a price ceiling, which we might have done, and is it beneficial then to either keep it at that price and bring the price down, or is it a value? Now, I don't think it is the price, because there's a lot more that are signing on than the ones that are cancelling, but I think we've had more IAs than usual over the last 3 weeks that have had a price objection, so it's just worth keeping an eye on over the next few weeks. And just being brutally honest with yourself, do I think that was the price, really just the price and not the money, or is it the value? And I think also as well, if it happens, is speak to whoever booked them in, and did they know the price before they came? Because they should know the price before they come. And if they know the price before they come, then usually it's going to be that we haven't met their expectations in some way, basically, and then we can figure out what we need to do better from back into that.
I've had a couple of people that said, I need to consult my partner because I know it's quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
So we've had to leave them to come back to us, and then obviously they rang up and said, oh, it's too expensive and stuff.
Yeah.
She did say to me though, Mary, she said, oh, could you just put in an email what's wrong and what we need to do? And I probably kept it a bit too short. I could have probably gone into a bit more detail to sort of increase the value of the service. So maybe that's something.
To be fair, I think since I've got more time, I actually had quite a big win from it yesterday actually. Was after most of my IAs now, the next day I'll send a link with the effective explanation.
Nice.
And I had an ACL reconstruction guy yesterday who said that was the best thing I've had, physio-wise before. So
yeah, nice.
I think it's quite a nice one for
definitely
more time anyway.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it's probably not something that we can, when the libraries are full, probably not have time to do it, but I think at the moment that's a really nice touch. And it's like, put yourself, imagine you went to a physio tomorrow, knowing nothing about physio, and the next day you get an email with a video just explaining everything again to you, reassuring you this is what you're doing this week, any problems let me know. Just the customer service aspect of that is huge, isn't it? So I think that's
thinking
really
about
yeah. But I think even specifically for that one as well, Cara, if that's the case, if someone needs to go speak to their partner, what can we ask them at the end of the session to help them basically?
I went through effective explanation, and I said it's going to take 8 sessions approximately. Are you happy with that? She was back. She wants it.
Yeah. That's the thing. So like this could be a case of she's fully sold out, or she got out the partner, and the partner sees value in it basically.
Yeah.
And obviously it's that she's not the sole decision maker of going ahead with it or not. But I think a nice question. This is a nice question to ask anyway, regardless of whether it's an objection or not. Is no, not because even if it's important to her partner's not going to understand that. But it's like I just want to really make sure you've understood everything today, Mary. When you go home today and speak to your partner, what are you going to tell them about what we talked about today?
Right.
And just get her to explain the effective explanation back to you, basically, of what's wrong with her, how it's affecting her, what she's going to get back to, and what the plan is to get there. And I think that's a nice. If you're ever unsure, if you do the effective explanation, you see someone's kind of a bit glazed over, whether they're actually listening to that or not. Yeah. It's a nice question to ask them anyway. Yeah. Just want to really make sure you've understood everything today. You go home and speak to your partner now later on tonight. What are you going to tell them about the session today? How are you going to explain it? Or what are you going to tell them that I've told you? Or whatever it is.
That was the big thing from this week's meeting. The other big thing now that we're also looking at is partnerships as well. Is looking to form strategic partnerships with other people who also have our customers. So, being really clear on who our ideal target audience is, and then actually forming strategic partnerships with these people. So one of the things that we're looking to do is do what's called a loss leader in the first session. So that's where if somebody strategically, one of our partners refers somebody for us, that's where we would reward essentially the partner. So we would give them 50% of the initial assessment. And again, we've got every confidence that, if we do a good job in the initial assessment, if we outline to the patient the problem, the solution, the realistic time frame, we get the buy-in and adherence, then ultimately what we gain is, potentially gain a customer for life. So although, you're giving up, half your initial assessment fee, you have to look at second, third order consequences of that of, what's the lifetime value of the customer. So that's why it's really important to understand that metric as well. So they're the big things that we're working on this week. What we've been focused on with the therapists this last week is giving them 3 or 4 simple actions that they can do on a daily basis. And they're really tiny actions that are going to turn into tiny habits. But once we get those habits in consistency compounds, and that's when it compounds towards our monthly goals, our quarterly goals, and our yearly goals. And that's the key thing, is just to start with these tiny habits, as Fogg says, these tiny little habits that are so easy to do that we bypass that subconscious resistance in our brain. So we've been doing that this week. Everybody in the clinic's got 2 to 3, right up to 5 daily actions that they have to do. And then we've got a Facebook group as well where we're ticking off every day if we've done the habits, or if we didn't have an opportunity to do one of the habits. We're honest as well, because that's one of our core values is obviously honesty as well. So that's worked really well. We've also seen the consistency of those habits every day, and then that actually translating into total patient numbers this week, and also obviously working towards our monthly goal, our yearly goal, and our 3-year goal essentially. Yeah, so just completed week 6 of 75 hard, and I wish I could sit here and tell you, I'm going really strong. It's really great. It could be further than the truth to a point. But at the same time, I don't want to be, come across as looking for sympathy or anything like that. I said on my Instagram post that the novelty of 2 workouts a day, drinking a gallon of water, all of that stuff, the novelty is truly worn off by now, and it's the equivalent of a patient where it's session 5 or 6. The progress is slowing now. Obviously, all the body has changed quite a bit, but it's not changed massively from day to day or week to week. And that's where session 5 or 6 with a patient, the progress is a little bit slower, but you still know you're making progress. And that's where understanding why you're doing this in the first place is so important. Not just obviously for myself, going, I'm going into week 7 now. It's getting a little bit lethargic, but there's a reason why I'm doing this, and that's where we have to keep that reason top of mind. And It's the exact same with a patient in session 5 or 6 when the pain's easing, the motivation naturally dips. That's where your why becomes even more important, I think, for that kind of scenario. And that's certainly where I am now, is I keep reminding myself, okay, why am I actually doing this? I'm not doing it to lose weight as such. Obviously that's a part of it, but really it's about the mental focus, the clarity, and to develop that mental toughness and resilience for myself this year, to be a better leader to both the clinic and the academy. And as I said, we've had setbacks in both businesses, to be honest. The back end of last year, I've said that quite publicly, but even now, this year we haven't made a massive great start, that's all singing, all dancing. But that's where I think I'm really getting the benefits of this stuff at the moment, where I'm off alcohol, I've got clarity, I've got focus, and I can deal with the problems that are coming up in the business a bit. Whereas in the past, I said I might have hidden, or I might have tucked myself away.